with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. How are you doing this afternoon? Do you see that we have Gloria and Shay already in the chat? And Miss Maureen Pryor, welcome, welcome. So the purpose of today's live stream, because it's not on my regular schedule, is to follow up on the questions and everything that were presented to me during my live stream during the Card Maker Success Summit. That live was done over on Stamp Me Some Love's YouTube channel. So what I'd like for you guys to do is that if you do have any foil related questions, go ahead and gather those up and put them in the chat. There should be a button down at the bottom of the chat, I think with a plus, I'm not sure. Okay, I can type in something. Okay, I'm gonna say, give me your foiling questions. And that should help me to be able to get to those questions easier. So I'm going to go ahead and start the Q&A. So it should bring up a box up at the top of the chat, and you can go in there and just type in whatever questions that you do have. I do have a listing. I basically printed out a copy or copied over a copy of everything that happened in the chat, the transcript of the chat from that previous live stream, so that I've got something to start with. Because I know it's a Sunday afternoon. It's been, I don't know, what, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks since the summit. Y'all have thought about other things than hot foil cards. So I figured that way we can get a little, have something to start with and go from there. Let me take a look at the chat. Oh, fantastic. Gloria says, I got a customer from the summit. She bought 2 of the glue toppers. Now, if you don't know what it is that Miss Gloria is talking about, Gloria Wolf created this pretty, let's see if I can get it in there right. This is a glue topper to go on the top of my art glitter glue bottle. She also makes, and where did I put it? Because I just had it out. Here it is. She also makes these lovelies. This is a pokey tool for you to use to poke whatever, and it is gorgeous. She did an absolutely gorgeous job on these, and there's not a link down right now in the description yet, but Gloria, if you want to add it into the chat, just add your email address, leave a space between the words and the dot, and that should let it go ahead and post in there. If not, I can also copy and paste it in there myself, because nobody else can put, those in there. So if you guys do have any foiling questions, go ahead and pop those in. Again, there is up at the top of the chat box, there is a give me your foiling question thing there, and you can go ahead and get those entered in. Okay, June is asking, how can you tell the difference between the 2 foils when they are open and don't have a wrapping? Only way I know of to do it is to try it on a hot foil system. If it does not foil without any additional adhesive, if you use your glimmer system, I can't do that. Let me turn on the other camera. Okay. So if you try using it in your glimmer system, so this is the glimmer system that gets hot. If you use it in your glimmer system or your your press and foil, I think is one of them, or the Gemini foil press, if you try it and it does not work, then it is going to be just regular toner transfer foil. I hope that kind of makes sense. That's the only way that I know to do that. How do you foil with sentiment plates successfully? Shay, it's basically going to take practice. Also, it depends on the machine. What I've noticed is that, and this is true with dies as well, some dies and stamps and all of the different products from all the different companies, sometimes they're thicker and sometimes they're thinner than other times. They're basically made in a factory, and I think these are probably injection molded, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of my husband's thing, the engineering thing. Anyway, the way that they're manufactured, they're not always the same depth. Like the blade on a die cut, on some dies it's deeper and some dies it's not. Same kind of thing happens on your foil plates. I have had my best results with a glimmer system that is very, very hot. It's hotter than my Gemini foil press, which I did go ahead and bring out, so that you guys can see it. This is the Gemini foil press. This machine is made by Crafter's Companion. It does not get as hot. It has heat settings here. So you tell it low, medium, or high. In order to use glimmer foil that is made to use the glimmer system, you have to set it on high. And you're going to have to experiment to see what works with this specific foil, the specific hot heat plate, and even what cardstock. I'm also noticing that sometimes some cardstocks, I don't know what it is between the foils and the cardstocks and such, the smoother the smoother the cardstock, the better the results tend to be. Oh, you're welcome, June. It's where you kind of, well, here's the thing. You think that there should be another way to figure it out, but I haven't found a way to do that. What I recommend is keep it in the box that it came in. I've got different foils. There are some foils that I don't know where I got them from or who I got them from, but I know it was before I got Glimmer. It's before I got my foil press. It was before I started using hot foil. So those I know are toner foil sheets. Those are ones that you can use adhesives or toner, something of that nature, to do the transfer instead of needing to use heat. Let me see what's going on in the chat. And I want to say hello to some more folks. April Rhodes is in the house. She just asked a question in the she asked a question in the live chat instead of in the Q&A, which is fine. Are there specific only stencils that work with the Glimmer foil system? So the Glimmer is for hot foiling. These are for foil plates, not stencils. However, some companies have been coming out with stencils to use along with your hot foil plates. The hot foil plates are basically like a hot foil stamp. So they press the foil into your cardstock using heat and pressure. So it's not a stencil. And if you've got a hot foil plate, you can use any hot foil plate with your machines. What I was saying before about the different companies have different things, it's basically having to do with the manufacturing. I've noticed that I could get the same thing from the same company multiple times. Most of the time it's the same exact depth, but sometimes it might be a little bit more, a little bit less. You don't know for sure. So just try it, and it's just an issue with manufacturing. That's going to be no matter what product you get. You've probably gotten things even for your kitchen or for your house or anything else. You've probably got some products that you've got more than one, and one will be a little bit off of the other one. It's just the way that industry works. They can't be 100% perfect every time because even machines can be a little bit off. Hello, Miss Cordelia. How are you doing, honey? Okay, April says, me and Discord don't get along. Well, partially the reason that a lot of folks are having issues with Discord isn't Discord in itself, is that we're learning a new platform. I mean, I'm still learning things all the time. And one thing that I have learned is if you're joining too many people's servers, because that's what they call each of the groups. So I have my own Discord server. If you are joining too many of them, you may wind up getting a lot of alerts, so you kind of have to mute the thing. So I am starting to go back and do that, but that also means that sometimes I miss one. One of my buddies has been sending messages out that part of it's directed towards me and some other folks. However, I've been missing it because I had it muted. And since she didn't mention me directly in it, I didn't know. So it's like, okay, now I know why it is. So I unmuted that section. So hopefully I'll get the rest of the messages there. Okay, so Susie is in the house. So excited to see so many folks in here. Gloria is saying, I have the toner Mink machine. Yes, the Mink machine is kind of like a laminator, but it is super, super hot. So it gives fabulous results. I do not have one yet. I need to put that on my wish list. Yes. Pamela was saying what heat pin you used and where to get it. So I have not been using a heat pin recently. Okay. Memory Keepers has made a foil quill that you can use with your You can use it with your Cricut. My brain just stopped. Yes, your Cricut, your Silhouette, your ScanNCut, those types of electronic cutting machines. And I do have that set, and I recently got, and I will be trying out in the next few weeks, I recently got another foil pen from Craft Express that I still need to try out with their hot foil. So that's going to be coming soon. It's something separate from the hot foil system, but it is foil. So we're going to see how that one goes. And basically the way that it works is you plug it into a USB power source, not your machine, power source, put it into the pen holder, and then it draws onto your cardstock in the foil, which is kind of cool. And again, it is one of those hot foils. I did a little bit of research this past week because one of the questions we had gotten was about the Cricut foil, and the Cricut foil is not hot foil. It is a pressure sensitive foil, which I don't know how they did it. So apparently they've got some kind of adhesive on there that when you press it into the cardstock with their special I'm thinking it's probably similar to an embossing type of a pen, that it presses it into the cardstock, and that's how you get the foil results there. Okay, I'll go back over to the Q&A section and see if there's any more questions over there. Can you ever run it through 2 times using the Glimmer hot foil? I think what you're meaning, okay, and Shay is saying before, is Bristol Smooth okay to use for foil? That I don't know. I do know that Spellbinders has some special smooth cardstock made for hot foil, and it made me, I didn't even think about it until I was asking Yana. I sent an email to her because she's my contact at Spellbinders, but I was asking Yana Smagula who I should contact about some foil that wasn't wanting to work right. And then she asked in her email, it's like, well, I don't know, what's going on with it. I'd love to know what happens with your testing, because I said I was going to do some testing. And then she asked if I had tried using it on the Spellbinders cardstock. And I don't remember the name of it, but I will go ahead and look that one up while I'm chatting here, because I don't recall. Thing is, I don't have any of that cardstock. So no, I have not. So what I wound up doing over the weekend is I pulled out my stuff. I pulled out just one little foil plate. It's got some flowers on it. I pulled out one foil plate and I tried it on Accent Opaque and Nina, because those are the 2 white cardstocks that I have. And it worked better on Nina than it did on the other. However, I still don't know which one it was that wasn't working at all, because they both worked. The 2 that I thought I was having issues with did work. So I don't know if I did something different than when I had my issues while I was trying to record, because that is what happened. I'm in the middle of a recording and it doesn't want to work. Okay, so let me see. Foiling cardstock. I'm going to assume that's how to look it up. Glimmer Specialty Cardstock. So they do have some of that, and that is made specifically to use with the Glimmer hot foil system. My understanding is that is super smooth. The description says it's perfect for your hot foil application. Seeing is believing when using this cardstock with the Glimmer hot foil system. Okay, add to cart. So that will go on my next order. Just wow on its stunning results. The versatile paper is also ideal for alcohol ink use. So that means, coloring with your alcohol markers. It's a 70-pound cardstock coated to enable inks, watercolors, and other mixed mediums to dry on its surface and prevent from bleeding into it. Awesome. So that would be something that would be interesting to try out. So I'm going to have to make sure to get some and give it a shot with you guys. My understanding of it is that it is a smooth cardstock, and that's one reason that it works good. So back to June's question. June was saying, can you ever run it through 2 times using Glimmer hot foil? Yes. I have seen it done, and I've done it myself, where you do one thing on a piece of card. Let's say you're doing a background and you've left a white space open in the center so that you can have your pretty background in one color, and then you want to come in with another color in a different plate. You can definitely do that. The way that it works, the foil is getting pressed into the cardstock with the pressure from the hot foil things. I mean, you might get some iffy results. I just say practice with it, but yes, you can do it. And I have never seen anywhere it lifted, but that would be a very good experiment to do. That's something else I need you guys to do. If you want to see me do any kind of experiments on this stuff, send me an email. That's going to be debbieJ@debbieJ's Crafting Corner. Go ahead and send me an email over there with what you would love to see an experiment on, and I will put that on my list of things to do in the coming weeks and months. Okay. Okay, so Cordelia says that she has hammer mill that she doesn't use because it's too smooth and slick for her. I wonder how that would work with the hot foil. Very good idea. We need to do an experiment. Fantastic. Okay, so that means I just saw Maureen's comment up there. So that means my husband walked past because her comment was, "Hi, Todd." He just laughed. You guys know him almost as well as you know me, I think. It's too funny. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look down the questions that I've already got from the last live Q&A, and okay, and Cordelia says, "I miss Todd."
I'll walk by again.
He says he'll walk by again. So I'm going to look down the questions and stuff that were from the last Q&A. And if you guys have any additional, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and look back over at the Q&A section. I have to keep on remember. It's kind of neat when YouTube adds something new. It's like I have to go flipping back and forth. It's kind of like flipping between top chat and live chat. So I have to flip back between live chat and questions. Gloria says hi. Okay. Looking down. So someone had said that they got a foil quill a year ago and just realized that it works for their Cricut. So she's going to be giving that one a shot. And somebody asked, you take the item from the glimmer to what looks like the hot shot cutter. So I think what she was talking about was Big Shot. So this does fit in your Big Shot or Big Kick. I've got a Big Kick, which is the same thing as a Big Shot, except it was done through, they sold it at Michael's under that different name. So the thickness, this thickness here, will fit through your Big Shots. If you look at it, it looks like it. If you've looked at the plates or the platform that you have for your Big Shot, it's about this width. So it's perfect for it. This is actually the same side. A lot of the die cutting embossing machines have got the same specs. So you're able to use basically all the same products. Like the Spellbinders Platinum 6 plates are the same thickness as the Sizzix plates. So they're basically made with the same specs. When you come to it, the difference comes when you try to use it using a different machine. And this is, I think, probably because it's from the UK. This is my Gemini Junior, which you guys really haven't seen a whole lot lately because it doesn't work with this buddy. So you see the slot there. That is actually thinner than this. I'm just going to show you. This will not fit in there. It will not go through. Okay, it's too tight. The Gemini foil press one, though, is thinner. So this one will fit through there. And I had it turned on, so it's already trying to pull it through, but it doesn't have a foil plate on here. It doesn't have the plates that go with it on there, so that's why it didn't do anything. Another big difference that I noticed between the two machines, first off, Spellbinders is more expensive, and that was the reason I got the other one first. And then I upgraded to this, and I haven't really ever gone back and used the other one. So nothing bad about it other than you have to be careful with what you use. I mean, no matter what product you get or what tool you get from anywhere, it really depends on how it's designed to be used. This one is designed pretty much because it's designed in the UK. It's designed to work with the products that they use over there more often. And then, of course, over here in the US, we want everybody's everything. So they do sell this in the United States. You have to be careful when it comes to the temperatures. You have to know which foil brand you're using. You have to do a lot of experimentation to know what heat and pressure you need to use. For instance, the amount of heat and the time. This is one you set the heat, the low, medium, or high on it, and you set the amount of time you want it to go. The glimmer, you just turn it on. You hit the timer button when it says it's ready for you to do the timer part, and you're good to go because it is specifically designed to work with the Glimmer Hot Foil. It can be used with all the other ones as well. You just need to know it's going to be a little bit hotter. I'm thinking it'll probably give better results. I have not been using a lot of the others because right now I have so much Glimmer Foil. And that's one of the things that people were wanting to know. Is like, can't I use this in that machine? It's like, no, they don't work together. So you always want to make sure to double check the manufacturer when you're wanting to buy one of these things to see what is going to work. Okay. I had highlighted all of the questions in here. Ramona was asking her where the glue topper was from, and I've already shared that. So this is from Gloria Wolf, and Gloria will get us her information. I will be adding her. I will make sure to add her email address down in the description so that you guys can touch base with her because she is making and selling those for about, I think it's about $10, as well as the the Pokey tools. These are super awesome. And no, I'm not an affiliate with Gloria. She's just one of my buddies and I love what she makes. Okay. Bo, and I think I answered this then, was wondering if you could draw over alcohol ink. Not sure what the question was, but when I read it, I was thinking alcohol ink over foiling, and yes, you should be able to. I always use my markers over my alcohol ink. I mean, my alcohol markers over my hot foil. Artfully Stamped with Tracy had asked if we can use things other than hot foil plates if you don't have them, and you can use dies. One of my buddies in one of my classes recently used one of the intricate dies from Spellbinders, and it was absolutely fabulous. It does create a very thin line when you do hot foil with a die because the cut line is a very thin line, right? So it does do that, but it makes a real pretty intricate design. Okay, let's see what's going on in the chat. Okay, so Cordelia, this is another thing. Always check with the manufacturer. Cordelia said one of the hot foil machines has a disclaimer that you will void your machine warranty if you use the other brand's hot machine with it. So are you saying... Oh, die cut machine. Okay. Yeah. Is that where they're trying to go between like the Gemini foil, the Gemini Junior, and say a Big Shot or Spellbinders? Because the thing is not going to fit in the other machine. So, I mean, the foil press will fit through a Platinum 6, but you're not going to get the pressure that you want. Also, one thing I noticed is that if you run the the Gemini foil press too hot for too long, meaning you have to unplug it in between each individual foiling and then reheat it up. If you leave it on too long, it will warp and then it will break. So this, right now it's not warped. Mine got very warped. It's wound up with a C curve. And then over time, I wound up with a big gash in the side where you can actually see on the inside of it. So I had to buy a replacement in order to be able to use it. And I did I used that. The last time I used it was on one of my live streams, I think about a year or so ago. Might have been 2, but it is out there. So I have done live streams and everything where I was playing with that machine on my stream. So you guys are more than welcome to check that out. Maureen says hammer mill is good for laser printing, meaning that would be really, really good to use with regular toner foil because you can get a really good impression. If your laser printing is really good, if it's really, really dark, you get a really crisp, gorgeous impression from that. Okay, so I don't see any more questions or any more new questions. Okay, someone had asked if we could use double-sided tape in our hot gun. So double-sided tape, yes. Heat tool, I have used that when I have had issues with toner foiling where I didn't feel I got enough toner on there or my laminator wasn't quite hot enough. I have used my Ranger heated gun to kind of heat up the toner a bit, and it did give me a better impression. So that did help. I have not tried that with anything having to do with hot foil because you really don't need it. But I would say if you're, I don't know that it would work with that. I do know that double-sided tape will work with any foil that you're using, but foil that is designed for hot foiling does cost sometimes more than regular toner foil does. So I would say save your nice foil, your hot foil for your hot foil machine, unless that's all you got and you need to use that specific color or something. Here's the thing, when you get started with foiling, you kind of go down a rabbit hole that it's really, really hard to get out of. So you're going to wind up with lots of different colors until, of course, you run out of your favorites. Well, hello, Miss Debbie. How are you doing, hon? I hope I've said hello to everybody. If I've missed anybody, it is not intentional. I am so sorry. Somebody asked, do you know which category Cricut foil falls in? I already mentioned that a little bit earlier, but if you missed that, it's where Cricut foil, I looked it up to find out, Cricut foil is not hot foil. It is a pressure sensitive foil. I've not used it. I have heard from other folks that have that they don't really like it as much, but they may be because they're used to hot foil and doing letterpress and such with that. Someone asked if we can use an iron to apply toner foil. I would not think so because it's, like I said, it's not, toner foil is not hot foil. You'd basically use a laminator for that. So that might be the reason that they're asking that. I mean, you can give it a try, but I have a feeling it's not going to give you the same results. Plus the holes that are in an iron, this is the same with everything. I do a lot of things with artistry, which is sublimation, iron on transfer ink. And if you use an iron that's got the holes in it, the steam holes, it can give you, it's basically going to mess up your design. You don't want to do that. Someone had said that their son had told them that they could use their heat press for foiling. I have not tried that yet, so I'm going to have to give it a try because I do have my Cricut Easy Press and I've got a separate clamshell style heat press. And as long as I'm keeping everything safe, which I've got my artistry, siliconized paper, the protective paper, that should help me to protect the machine as I do the test, so it shouldn't do any damage there. So I'll have to give that one a shot too. And because I have it written down, I can hopefully remember to do that. Toner foil is sold in rolls and in sheets. They come both ways, as do hot foil. Monica had asked that. And someone was asking, what can I do with toner, with deco foil? So deco foil is a transfer foil. It is like, it's not a hot foil. I don't think they have hot foil. When you look at the packaging, if it does not say hot foil, then it is a transfer foil, except for Cricut. Cricut is different. And I just did a live stream this past week where we used toner foil, just the regular transfer foil, not the hot foil, with some deco foil transfer gel duo. Words, yes. We use that through a stencil, so you can even add foil to stencil designs. They turned out absolutely gorgeous, and I don't have them right here handy, but there was a live stream last Tuesday on that, and when you look in my stuff, you can, I redid the thumbnail, so you'll see the hot foil stuff there. Okay. Someone asking about the class I'm having coming up. I do have another class coming up next Saturday. You can register for that still on my website. It's at edu.debbiejscraftingcorner.com. And this one is going to be a fun craft along hot foil class where we're going to be focusing on backgrounds. So what I'm thinking, this is kind of just my mind going in, of course things can change. I do have a card design in mind, but I think what I'm probably going to focus more on is if you are there with your hot foil machine, give you a chance to run it through several times, do a bunch of backgrounds, and then we can check it out and see how you did and see if you have any questions along the way. That's one of the nice things about going to a class or a live class, is that if you have questions or issues while you're doing it, you can ask. If I don't know the answer, and I don't know everything, believe me, I'm still practicing on a day-to-day basis with everything, but if I don't know something, it's possible that one of the other students will know or have had some kind of experience with it, and we can work together to expand all of our knowledge. And plus, it's a bunch of fun. So Cordelia says, oh yeah, I need to register. Absolutely. Don't forget, Cordelia, I believe you do still have your membership coupon code. It should still work. So remember to use your coupon code to get your discount as a member of my channel. I am planning on redoing the whole membership kind of thing, but I do have a lot of work to do on that and some decisions to make as to exactly where I'm going to house it, how I'm going to house it, what I'm going to offer, all the fun things. But right now, your code is still valid, so be sure to use that when you register. Also, the class is very full, and if we happen to go over the limit, which I don't really expect us to, the replay will definitely be available. And if everything goes as smooth as it did last month, it should be available the next day. Okay, April, foil, quick trimmer. Is it better than just using scissors? It's really up to you. I'm in Florida. I have air conditioning running all the time, which means that when I do heat embossing, if I do anything like that even, or glitter, anything, it tends to fly. So I get frustrated when I have rolled out my foil and it keeps getting flipped by the air conditioning. So I like using my quick trimmer. Another thing that it does is it gives you a chance to look and see and measure and make sure you're using the right amount and that you don't waste any of it. So that's another thing with it. I do have my quick trimmer here. So this is what we're talking about. This is the quick trimmer from Spellbinders. And okay, here's a roll of foil that's not gone yet. And you basically, all you do with this thing, and yes, you can pull it out and take your scissors and make sure that you have cleaned them and that they don't have adhesive on them, because mine do, and I don't really cut as smoothly as I'd like. But I basically just lay it down, put this here, and let's just say that this was what I'm wanting to foil, that this is my foil plate. It's not, but you basically just move this so that you're covering the exact amount, and then you trim along the line, and it's a straight line. And then to get rid of this part, you just turn it and trim it that way. You can definitely use your scissors, and there's not a problem with that. You can use a rotary cutter. My rotary blade is dulled from using it on paper. That's another thing. It really depends on what you use it on. I have, with this, it comes with two blades, and they're labeled. One is for paper, one is for foil. I haven't used the paper one. I'm always using the foil one. But if I was to use this to cut paper, instead of using my paper trimmer, I would use the one that says paper so that I didn't accidentally dull the blade on my foil one. And you can get replacements, but I don't want to do that until I absolutely need to. Cordelia says, I like the quick trimmer for what Debbie J just said. It's easier for me to see how much I'm cutting. Absolutely. And be honest, when it comes to any kind of scraps of anything, it's much easier to keep track of and keep them all organized and stuff if they're in kind of squares or rectangles, right? Hello, Yvette. How are you doing today, hon? I'm going to switch back over to the Q&A part, see if there's any new questions over there. What's the best way to store foil in the packaging you got it in? So I have a couple of those 12 drawer little 12 plastic drawer bins from Michael's. And this is one of my foil. This is basically my foil stash that I keep at my desk. Gold, mostly because I use a lot of gold. So I've got matte, I've got some general colors that I think I'm probably going to want to use. I've actually got tangerine and black still in here from around Halloween, because I was thinking I was going to do Halloween, and I've got Christmas ones. But these are the general ones that I have. And then whenever I get some new ones in, if it's something I'm going to use right away, I go ahead and put it in this bin and try to move things around. But I've also got another bin aside from this for those. Now, when it comes to the ones that are in sheets, I do have some of those. And this is some that I don't recall who I got them from, where they came from, but it was a package of sheets, and I've got them same way as, that one's folded. Okay. Same way that you would do some of your cardstocks. So I have it in here. Thing is, with this kind, it's hard for me to use. This is toner foil, by the way. So this was something that I printed out with a, you can see the color on there. This was printed out on a laser printer and then foiled over. And then I've got the sheets in here that I can take out and I can cut with my scissors or with my quick cutter. You can use this on any type of foil, but that's how I store those. And I've got different colors, and I just have them filed away in like a little filing cabinet beside my desk, just like you would any kind of paper. And the problem with those is that they are not labeled. And I have also noticed that deco foil sheets tend to be longer than 8.5 by 11. I'm longer than 11. I think they can come in like 12 by 6 or something. So they're long and thin, but they will not fit in my drawer, so I have to store them elsewhere. So a lot of it just depends on what your space looks like and what's going to work best for you. But you do want to, if at all possible, keep them in the original packaging. If you do have to take them out of the packaging, let's say it's sheets of some kind, make sure that you keep the labeling or whatever from the sheets. I've even got some 12-inch rolls that I have to keep in a drawer by themselves because I don't have space to put them anywhere else. But I want to keep them in the packaging so I know what kind of foil it is and what I can use it with. Okay. Oh, and that is doing well, taking a break from editing videos. I am with you, hon. By the way, guys, you're probably not going to see, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hang out in other people's lives and stuff much this week. I mean, lately I've been busy and not been able to, because we're going to be going out of town next week to Ohio because Creativation is the following weekend. Yes. So let me make sure I'm looking at a calendar right. I just know that we're going to spend some extra time with my in-laws, so I am going to be gone. Yes. So we're going to be leaving sometime this next week, and then I'm going to have to skip the following Crafting with Debbie Live because, you know, travel and things like that. So the first week of April, I do have some videos and stuff planned to go up. So this next week, I'm going to be doing a lot of recording and editing, including tomorrow. I'm going to, this is something I've been starting lately. So if you're not aware, I'm just letting you know. I have an account over at Twitch. I have a channel over there, and I am starting to do, at least trying to do once or twice a week, a behind the scenes, let's record a card video live stream. So I can chat with you guys while I'm recording, and we can kind of hang out and do a little bit of extra time there. So that is my plan for tomorrow, probably starting at about noon. Absolutely, April. Where will the link for the class be located? So on my website, and I'll go ahead and type in that general email, well, the general address. On the main page, it says what the next class is going to be, and then there's a courses area, and it's actually the only current class that's listed there. I'm going to be updating it within the next week or so because we have another class coming up in April. So So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the link for my site in general so you can take a look. And I'm also going to do one for the class. So this one is to the EDU site. Also, another thing, I'm working on so many different things at once. I've got a lot of things that I'm planning on doing and wanting to do more of, and all of the fun things. I'm going to start adding more blog posts. Some will be just inspirational, you know, here's what I made. Here's some photos of it. If you want to just take a look, here's a link to my video. Some, though, are going to be more step by step. I've already been doing that with some of my new artistry projects. Those are the ones using the iron-on ink, which is fabulous. And I'm looking to see, do I have anything on? The only thing I have on my desk right now, and it's one of my, not exactly a fail, but kind of a fail because I wasn't happy with it, but I'm still using it. And I gave the nice one to my mother-in-law. This one, I messed up on the ink here, but I'm using it for holding some of my nail stuff, and it's working great. I love this little bag. It needs to be washed, but that's ink. This is a design that I stamped using a Hero Art stamp. And this is where I messed up. I think I had excess. Yeah, anyhow. And this is when I'm going to use it anyway, you know? Okay, so for that one, is that the right link? Yes. And then this is the link for the class. I'm also changing the way that I'm wording the titles of anything. It's behind the scenes stuff. But if you'd like to register for that, my classes right now are $15. You can get lifetime access. My classes, first off, they're live. But even if you don't make it live, you can always watch the replay for up to 90 days. That's 3 months after the live stream, the live class happens. We're doing the live class over on Zoom. And then if you want for an extra $5, you can have lifetime access so that you can watch it whenever you choose to. As long as my site's up and I don't see it coming down anytime soon, you can have access to that. Okay. Just looking back to see if I have any other questions. And I know that the hardest part about asking questions about something is that unless you're doing it or you're watching it being done, you don't really think about the questions. I'm like that. Don't ask me to say, oh yeah, you can ask me anything. I don't know what to ask you right now because I'm not actually doing it. But then it's like when I start doing something, it's like, oh yeah, I meant to ask how to do that because I don't really remember. It's one of those things. So I totally get that. So the class is this next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And I plan on having the replay up hopefully on Sunday. That is the plan. And then, also, if you have already registered for the class and didn't get my email that I sent out about this, because sometimes emails go into spam, we know how that one works. The supply list is on the website now. So it's general supplies, and then what I'm planning on using, you can always use substitutions out of your stash, or if you're not really wanting to do anything, well, these are your projects. You can use whatever you want to, and we are there to help and support you as well. Anything else I want to think of right now? So I did post, I did send out an email yesterday with all the things that are basically planned on doing for this week, live-ish. So tomorrow I'm doing a live stream crafting on Twitch to record a new video, and that one is going to be, oh, I have to grab this. You guys have to see, because I made part of it because I'm going to make the video part over there a little bit shorter, but come on, where did I put it? I think you guys, most of y'all have seen some of my three-dimensional flowers using the Susan Tierney designs. I'm going to be making another one of these tomorrow on my live, on that Twitch stream. I am recording it, so there will be a recorded and edited video coming up in the next couple of weeks. Right now, I've got to get a lot of videos recorded, a lot of stuff edited, and a lot of stuff scheduled, so I can't say for sure. how do you keep the item on the die when you're the item on the die, rolling it through the die press with the foil to keep it still? My favorite is using the Best Ever craft tape. Okay, this is a little tape dispenser. It's a flamingo because I'm in Florida that I got from the Dollar Tree. This is just the way that I store it, just like I store my heat tape for Artistry on a unicorn. I just think they're cute. Anyway, the Best Ever craft tape works fabulously. What I've noticed on this is that it keeps it stick. So I've been able to reuse the same piece over and over and over again. And this is my first roll. I just ordered another roll. I just got that one in because I know that this one is starting to get a little bit low and I'm using it all the time. So I use this for my die cutting. I do recommend don't put any kind of tape over the foil area. Let me see. I don't have a foil. Yes, I do. I always have stuff. I cleaned off part of my desk so that I would have space. Okay, so let's say we're using this guy. This is a nice big background die. And here's a piece of cardstock. It's just a scrap. And you want to make sure that you keep it in place. The hinge method is the preferred method that I've seen lots of people teach that has worked fabulously. Washi tape can work too. My only concern is the residue that comes. Number one, there's actually two things. A lot of times washi tape is either too sticky or not sticky enough. If it's not sticky enough, it may not hold everything, but I have used washi tape for years without a problem. I switched to this and I'm loving the results better. The bad part on washi tape, in my mind, is on your finished project. Sometimes there is a sticky residue that's still on there. And that is the part I don't like. This doesn't leave a sticky residue. But let's say that you want it to be all the way to the end. I basically got a tape hinge on there, so you can line it up with the end. Flip it around, lay your foil down right there, and you're good to go. If you want it further down, let's say it is a smaller one of these and you want it to come further down, same thing, line it up where you want it, tape it down, and then you'll want to put your foil down. Just make sure that the foil is at least as high as whatever the edge of your foil plate is. What I tend to need to do is to pull it back a little bit. See, now you can see a little bit of the tape, and then put my foil all the way up to put that one over there because I want to make sure my entire plate is covered. I have the paper shift off the die when I'm rolling it through. Yeah, I get that. The thing is, if you don't tape it down, I have to admit, that is the number one reason why for a very long time I did not do much die cutting. My die cutting machine is actually my other one, my old one, my Sizzix, is basically back in another room. Like you can see the windows back here, the edge of the wall's there, and right around the corner, that's where I've got like a small drafting table I got from Michael's. That the main purpose for that one, after I got the die cutting machine, was to house it. The stool is not comfortable, so I would never use the stool. Instead, I would stand over it and do the cranking. It's like the height of it and the height of the stool just didn't work for me to be able to do that. My desk is much better. However, the Sizzix Big Shot is like longer than this. Basically, it's like here. It takes up my entire desk, which means I have, and that's having it long ways. I like to have it this way so it's easier to crank, right? I don't want to have to get up every time I'm wanting to die cut. So for that reason, I didn't use it much. Plus, it's like, how do you get the friggin' die to be lined up correctly every time? I had the hardest time. Now that I'm using this stuff and or washi tape, it works so much better. I've seen folks want to use a magnetic sheet, and the Gemini Junior, that one has one. I wore the thing out really, really fast because my machine had so much pressure. It's like the magnet had a printed plastic cover that's adhered to it, and it shifted and wrinkled and all that, and it just, I'm sorry, it just did not work well. And then the next, I wound up getting a replacement, and even that one wound up getting smushed. Yes. smush, so it doesn't work as well. It's not a firm shim. It just did not work that well. I've even tried running it through with a regular, like a magnet that I use for storing my dies. It doesn't always work. What I found works the absolute best is if you have a flat plate. This one is completely flat, right? So here is my platform. And then I've got a magnetic mat, which is a little bit warped, meaning I need to hit it with my heat gun. And then you use your dies, which do I still have those dies out here? I'll use this again, but you want to make sure everything is flat. And then flat. If everything's flat, it's great. One of my problems that I had was that my plates were warped, so of course nothing was flat on them, so I had a hard time getting everything to stay straight. If everything is flat, it should go through fine. However, the machines, they do their job by applying pressure, which causes these guys to warp, which is why I love my magic mat. These guys, when they get warped, I just hit it with my heat gun for a couple of minutes and it flattens right back out. So the magnetic mat is not magnetic. This thing is flexible. It is not a magnet. This one is a self-healing mat. I do have more than one. And Melissa, I think it was, mentioned during the class on the 11th, I don't remember how long ago, I think it was a week ago, on the 11th, that something that scrapbook.com showed on their website was using 2 of these instead of using any of these. Okay, instead of using your plastic mats, just using the magic mats. And we tried it, and it does work. Downside, if it's an intricate die, downside is it may not work on everything. I have done some die cutting since then that it did not work on here because the die was too intricate. Another thing is that you cannot see what you're cutting. So you've got your platform, you've got your magic mat. I really need to have a die. I'll grab out one of my magnolia dies. Except I've already got everything. Okay, here's my magnolia dies. Okay. You've got your magic mat, you've got your cardstock, you've got your paper. You cannot see if it's in place or if it moved. So you've got several. You cannot see if it's moved. With this one, you can see. You can see exactly where it is. If you have it taped in place, it's not going to shift. If this is completely flat with no warping, it shouldn't shift, but I have still had it shift because as the die goes through the roller does go kind of that bump. I even hear it when I'm doing it on a video. It's like you can hear that little bump where it's going through the roller, where it's kind of like going over a speed bump. If you go over a speed bump in your car slow enough, it's not going to jar anything in your car. You go over it too fast, it will. So that means that this has the possibility of shifting. If you have it taped in place, it shouldn't shift. And this is the best ever craft tape, and it is from Spellbinders. I love this stuff. It has worked so well, and the biggest plus is that it doesn't leave sticky on your cardstock. That is the number one thing I love about it the most. Washi tape will work fine. However, when you put it through your die cutting machine with that pressure, whether it is for hot foiling or it is for die cutting or whatever, you can possibly have some sticky residue left on there. And how many times have we used a die that has a circle or has an open spot in the middle, and you tape over it and you wind up with sticky residue on the inside on your actual die cut? That I hate. Oh, good, you just said it. That was going to be my question. Okay, don't know what I answered for Shay, but I'm glad I answered it. And Susie says, oh, yay. So I'm hoping that this little live stream today has been helpful. And I'm just going back over to the questions to see. I bought my Spellbinders Glimmer to use with my Platinum 6. Yes. Wait. Spellbinders Glimmer. Spellbinders Platinum. Platinum 6. Here is my Platinum 6. Okay, this is what you use with your Spellbinders Glimmer. If you are using the Gemini foil press from Crafter's Companion, it works with the Gemini or Gemini Junior from Crafter's Companion, okay? The Spellbinders does work with the Spellbinders. The Crafter's Companion does work with the Crafter's Companion. So I'm hoping that that answered that question, Jude, because yes, you can use, and I do on almost all of my foiling videos, and there's at least 1 or 2 a month. There were more. I still do a lot of them. But this does work in this machine. And this is my Platinum 6. This is actually my new Platinum 6 because my handle kind of broke and they didn't have any kind of replacement parts for that. So they sent me a new one. So this goes through there. And just as an example, let's say we've got our card with some foil on it. We've got our, doing it backwards. I know better than this. We have our hot foil plate with the smooth side down on the hot surface, which is not hot right now. And then we've got our card, and then we can tape it down, and we've got the foil in there and all of that. And then we've got 2 plates that come with it. One of them is the Glimmer Hot Foil System Spacer Pad, and then this one is the Thin Shim. And this is basically because depending on what you're doing and depending on your machine, you may sometimes need additional pressure. So most of the time I do it like this, and it goes through fine. And you can feel it when it starts to go over your glimmer plate, same as when you're going over a die. So I just hold on to it, and I usually go slow. And right there is where you just had that little bump. So just finish going over that, and usually I will go back and do it the opposite direction too. So this is the machine that is designed to work with the hot foil system. My recommendation is always, 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 when you're getting something like this, check with the manufacturer. So let's say you're debating whether or not to use, well, you want to see what's going to work with whatever die cutting machine you've got. Go to the website of the hot foil system that you're looking at, and it should say whether or not it's compatible. It's just like if you have an Android phone, you're not want to get cords that work with an iPhone because they are not compatible. They're not cross-compatible. Same thing with PC and Mac and all of those things, right? Oh, and something that I just did that I didn't even think about. I told you all that this also works as letterpress, meaning you can use it without foil. Well, this piece of cardstock is fairly thin, probably because I've used it as a shim a few times, but you might be able to see a little bit of that letterpress. So it's kind of an embossed image on there now. But this is so thin, it didn't do a real good one, but it is there. You can see it more where I was kind of testing out some, I don't even remember what it was, but I was testing out some purple. But yeah, you can see the letterpress design where this imprinted into it, so you can use it with or without foil. Okay, switching back to live chat. Quick question on Spellbinders die cut. What's the difference between the, okay, part of it I don't know. Part of it I'm thinking, because I think this is probably just one of their original, the original one. Okay, so this is an original Platinum 6. They may have, I think they may have kind of done something when it comes to the manufacturing, but the big part that I know for sure is different is the plates and everything that it comes with. So this, and you can get it separate if you already have your Spellbinders. Let me get all of the things that came with it. And I did do an unboxing for this a few months ago. Yeah, that's one of the long ones. Oh, that's one of the long ones. Okay. This is the universal plate system. One of the videos that's going to be coming up within the next couple of weeks, and which I've been doing each month since the new club kits came out, is 3D embossing folders. Spellbinders they used to do 3D embossing folders, stopped doing them for a long time. I knew I was messed up an L. Anyway, I know that they... Okay, Cordelia says, I had to buy a new Platinum 6. It's easier to crank at the handle, and it comes with the universal platform and extended plates. Yes, this is the universal plate system. So this is the new platform. The old platform is shorter. That's number one. Number two, the thickness, you can tell they're about the same, except part of it comes off. So this is considered platform B, and this is considered platform A. And the reason that they had it so part of it comes off is so that you can do 3D embossing folders through it using this one. Whereas this is too thick to use a 3D embossing folder. Like this one, this is the March 3D embossing folder of the month. It's one of the club kits that are out now. So if I try to put it through here, it wouldn't go through. It would not do what it's supposed to do. This gives just enough extra space for you to be able to use your 3D embossing folder. And instead of just doing that, they decided to make it longer. So now we've got longer cutting plates. This is an embossing mat for if you want to do your emboss with your dies. This is an extra plastic mylar shim, so it's not going to deteriorate like plastic, like paper does. And then we've got the adapter plate that is also used for when you're doing your 3D embossing folder. So this is not going to warp like the other ones do. So they basically came out with this entire system. The first time I saw it was at Creativation last year, and then they released it this past summer. And I've been loving it. The 3D embossing folders have been fabulous. The thing is, you can still use it to do all the other things that you do with your Platinum 6. Now, I would say that right now they do know that the older one, they do still have the Platinum 6 and then the new version. I think they still have both of those on the website, and that the older one is going to be less expensive. However, it's going to be more expensive to get that plus the universal plate system separate than if you go ahead and get the full set. And there's always some kind of a sale, so you can always wait till there's a sale on there. And Cordelia, you're absolutely right. She says you can emboss with your stencils too. So that is something I need to practice on with stencils. I'm not that concerned about, because one time when I did it, I used too much pressure. I think I didn't have the right sandwich, so you do have to be careful on that. And the stencil's not completely damaged, but it is a little harder to use now. Okay, it is already 5 o'clock, so a little after 5 o'clock, so we have been on here an hour. Do we have any last minute questions? I'm going to go ahead and check the Q&A section real quick, see if there's anything on there, and if you do have any more questions, let me know. Shay wants to know, why did they do it? I have no idea. It may have been, if you think about it, anytime that any company stops doing anything at any point, it's usually a decision based on market. So it may have been that at that point in time, people just weren't doing the 3D embossing stuff. I mean, I don't think I was even crafting back when they stopped doing the 3D embossing folders. I just know that they have more recently started them back up. And part of that might be because they've gotten to be so popular again. Everything with crafting kind of goes through cycles. Just like, okay, everything with your clothes goes through cycles. Style goes through cycles. People are now dressing and doing their hair and all sorts of things like we did years and years and years ago, decades ago, right? Everything comes in cycles, so it's probably having more to do with what was popular at the time. If it wasn't selling well, there's really no point in keeping it on our website or keeping it in your store if it's a brick and mortar store. Spellbinders has been around for 20 years, so I'm sure that they had gone through a lot of discontinued and re-release and new products continually over that period of time. Every time I go onto the website, I am surprised and amazed and just awed at all the new stuff that they have, including a lot of new manufacturers that are now on the Spellbinders website as well. Did you know you can get Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights directly from Spellbinders? You can also get them directly from our buddy Amanda, but she is now on Spellbinders website. So I think that is super, super cool. Okay. The 80s are back. Yeah, no, let's just wait. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if they started doing leg warmers again. I'm not going to wear them because I'm in Florida. But yeah, I did wear leg warmers for a while in the 80s. Yeah. Is Spellbinders only in the UK? No. Spellbinders is actually a US company, but they have recently opened their website up. There's a special website just for Spellbinders. I mean, just for UK. There is a UK version of the website. But yes, Spellbinders is actually in the United States. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that they're in like Arizona or something. Let me see if I've still got their website up. Locations of us seeing where it's sold. Wow, looking at I didn't realize that they were sold so much in different brick and mortar, which makes sense because I've gotten a lot of my original stuff that I got from Spellbinders I was getting from Hobby Lobby. So that was not what I was looking for. I want an About Us page. Where's the About Us? I don't see it on there, but let's look at Contact Us and see. Phoenix, Arizona. Corporate headquarters for Spellbinders is in Phoenix. So they are United States. And Cordelia, of course, smarty pants, to answer first. I think she loves Spellbinders as much as I do. I only know because of the tracking of many, many, many Spellbinders packages. Well, that's why I was thinking, I think it's Arizona, but I'm always one. Okay, you guys know me enough. I'm OCD enough. I have to look it up. Okay, so any more questions for me right now? Okay, so we're going to be finishing up. I think my buddy Dawn is still live. I did see that she was going live before we even started here, so I am going to do a redirect to her if it's still live and if it works. It didn't work when I tried to do something last time, but anywho, before I do that, let me give you the rundown of where I'm going to be live this week. So tomorrow is the 20th. I'm probably not going to be doing my Motivation Monday because goals. I got a lot of stuff I need to get done, and taking that time out is probably not going to be best use of my time, although I love hanging out with you. But I am planning on going live on Twitch to do that behind the scenes Let's Make a Card video, and that's probably going to be around noonish. It might be a little early, might be a little late, but it's basically Twitch TV twitch.tv is Twitch, and then / Debbie J's Crafting Corner, or just search for Debbie J's Crafting Corner, because that is where you will find me everywhere. And then Tuesday, we do have a Crafting with Debbie live stream at 5:30 Eastern time. And then on the 22nd, oh, I just double checked my calendar. Next week on the 28th, I'm also going to be doing a Crafting with Debbie live stream because I should still be in town. If I'm still in town, I will do a live then too. On Wednesday this week, it's Not Too Shabby Live. So Not Too Shabby Shops. Cordelia says, tomorrow's payroll and online training, so no sneak peeking at YouTube. Okay, Wednesday, if you're not familiar, I do on the 3rd, it's supposed to be the third Wednesday, but I think the last couple of months it's been coming up like on the fourth Wednesday. I don't know. Anyway, I do a live stream over on the Now to Shabby Shops Facebook page. I am doing a restream, so it's going to be over there and over here on YouTube, and that's going to be at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. Thursday, I'm also planning on doing another crafty live stream on Twitch. Maybe it might be playing games if my brain is just hurting by then, because it probably will. And I think that's all that's going to be live. I do have some other projects I need to get up in the meantime and lots of fun things to work on. So you will be seeing me a lot probably, but I am going to also try to make sure to space it out so that while I'm away, you will have some new content to take a look at on my channel. I'm sorry guys, my words are not working again as usual. Well, I do want to thank you guys for popping in. Thank you, April. She says thank you for answering our questions. I am always willing to help every way I can, and I hope to see you in that pot foil class we have on Saturday. Any other last minute things? I don't want to say goodbye if there's anything else that I haven't answered that is top of mind right now. Yvette says, have a great day. You guys are so awesome. You know that? Well, thank you, Shay. Okay, I'm going to just finish with this. If you do have any kind of questions or suggestions or ideas that you would love for me to address, whether it is doing an experiment or something you'd like to see in a class or on a video, be sure to send me an email over to debbiej@debbiejscraftingcorner.com, and I will put it on my list of projects to consider. So I can't guarantee when it's going to happen because it really depends on how busy and all the things, but you never know. One of my crafty friends had a suggestion for one of my classes, and that was doing some hot foil on vellum. So we did that a couple of months ago. By the way, any of my old classes, the replays are still available if you want to purchase the class to get access to that. And you would again get 90 days from date of purchase to be able to watch that. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work right, you let me know so I can make sure to fix it. Because I'm doing all the things myself. I'm doing all of the in front of the camera and crafty and behind the scenes development of the website. It's all me. So sometimes my brain decides it's going to hurt because it gets tired of trying to think. And I have to take a break and just make something pretty, right? Okay, well, you guys have a wonderful day.